What's up, everybody, and welcome into episode 65 of the Liquid Trucking Podcast. I am your host, Marcus. Thank you so much for being here today. First things first, as always, you want to check out more about the podcast. You got to go over to liquidtrucking.com. You got to click on the button that's right next to the picture of my face that says learn more or start here. I don't remember what it says, but there's a big picture of me at the top, and it says the word podcast somewhere. Click that bad boy. You're right where you need to be. If you ever want to send me an email, you can hit me at podcast@liquidtrucking.com. Appreciate everybody being here today. Kind of came about this idea in an unconventional way for today's episode, which is always something that I'm really excited about because, you know, a lot of it comes from the 6 inches between my ears or Jason's ears or, you know, Nick's ears. There's a lot of people that are trying to help out here, and they always come up with good stuff for me. I'll be honest, sometimes when I have to come up with the stuff, I get worried that I'm going to bore you guys. Well, today, I was actually given a suggestion by one of the drivers, which is something I really love. Of course, you're still welcome to send me driver suggestions. If we put something that you've suggested on the show, I will send you 50,000 Drive for Gold points for you to use in the shop. And we're going to make sure and hook driver Quincy Rich up with those this week because he phoned me. Well, he actually texted me the other day, and he said, you know, I really enjoyed the first kind of Gearheads episode. And what we did was we started out the idea for that episode to be driver hobbies, like things you do in your off time. What happened was I ended up with a bunch of drivers that wanted to come on the show, and they were all gearheads. So we sort of turned that episode into a Gearheads episode because why not? We're all talking, all the drivers that came on were talking about all of their restoration projects and their knock-around vehicles and their daily drivers and what work they're doing to them and what upgrades. So we thought, driver hobbies, yeah, it still fits, but really, this is a Gearheads episode. We're talking shop right now. So Quincy suggested maybe we take another shot at that and see if we can get some other drivers on to talk about other hobbies that they have. And I will be welcoming 4 different Liquid drivers to the show today to come on and dish about the things that they spend their off time doing. And I've got a lot of fun questions for them too, and stuff that will hopefully kind of paint a picture for some of you other drivers out there. Maybe you're looking to pick up a new hobby. Maybe you're just curious as to what everybody else spends their time doing. Maybe you're a guy that likes to decompress and just hang on the weekends when you finally get some free time. I totally get that. I can be that guy from time to time. Maybe you're a go-getter and you're up early. I want to know about it. I want to know how you structure the off time. An important piece of this episode here, I think, is that when you get insight into other drivers' kind of mode of operation where it comes to managing their short amount of time off that they get, maybe it'll give you some ideas on how you can squeeze some extra things in if you're finding that your home time seems like it's ending too quickly. Totally get that. The weekends are never long enough. Not one of them. Even the 4-day, 5-day weekends. One time I took a 3-week vacation as a weekend. That was about a week short, to be honest with you. So I get it, and that's kind of the point behind today's episode. Not only are we going to learn a little bit about the drivers and who they are and what they do when they're not sitting behind the wheel of a liquid tanker, but we're gonna talk about kind of the time management of the whole thing. So I'm really excited today. Like I said, 4 drivers. Quincy Rich is one of them. Of course, we'll also welcome Travis Ludi to the show alongside of Quincy. And we've got Terry Smith and Nathan Dobrins also stopping by. This is a fun episode, man. I love it when drivers are just talking about stuff they like because it allows me to take off the broadcaster hat and put on the one of the guys hat. I don't really structure a lot of hard-hitting questions for these episodes. I like to come in here and approach this as a conversation as if we were sitting around a table drinking a cup of coffee or a nice cold beer or something like that. So really fun episode today, and you're going to get to hear about some of the things drivers do during the off time. So strap in, make sure your fuel's topped off, get the def in the tank, all the things, so you can just sit down and enjoy these conversations I'm going to have with these 4 liquid drivers. And you know what? Just a quick shout out to all of you drivers out there. You liquid drivers are so awesome. I want to tell you this story because I thought I was going to be in a pickle. And because you guys are so awesome, I was not in a pickle at all. We had a group of gentlemen, or we have, excuse me, a group of gentlemen that work at Liquid Trucking, and I'm not dragging them through the mud here, okay? I'm not trying to throw them under the truck or anything like that. They are all avid and very successful bowlers, okay? Like 300 level bowlers. The stuff that you and I go out there and do, and it happens once when we had a few too many pops, and we've never been able to replicate it. Well, these guys can do that every time they go out. And we wanted to get a bunch of them on to talk about their bowling because they go to tournaments, they compete, they're really good at what they do. It turns out some of those guys had other conflicts. It couldn't get them scheduled. Other guys just didn't really feel like coming on the podcast for that purpose, and I totally get that. I respect it. But I was worried because I thought, man, how am I going to fill the time? I just sitting here talking about my hobbies. Yeah, okay, cool, I have some, but I don't really feel like they're going to apply much to what you guys are doing in the time that you have to manage. So I sent a text message out to all of you drivers, and within 5 minutes, I had the spot filled with not one, but 2 drivers to come on and hang out. So that is where I will tip my cap to both Terry Smith and Nathan Dobrins here. You guys bailed me out, and it was so easy. Like you get that anxiety when something goes wrong, and you start to be like, how much of a dent is this going to make in my day? And I started to feel that and just went ahead and hammered out the text message real quick before those feelings overtook me. And lo and behold, I didn't need to have that feeling at all because Liquid employs the gold standard of drivers, and you guys come through for me on this podcast every single week. So huge shout out to every one of you out there sitting in the cab of your truck right now, listening to this, cruising down the road, wherever you are. If you've got Liquid, OFC Schmidt, or Bartow emblazoned on the side of your truck, you are my person. Thank you so much for all of the podcast support. We got a lot of momentum right now, and we are going to keep rolling. I might even kick it out of gear and let it coast, man. No, I'm just kidding. We're not ever going to do that. See, we don't have speed limits here on the podcast, so we're hammered down all the time. Let's get to our interviews. Got some great drivers here, and really excited to talk to them about their hobbies. Let's jump in.
Welcome to the gold standard of podcasts for the gold standard of drivers. This is the Liquid Trucking Podcast with your host, Marcus Bridges.
Next up here on the Liquid Trucking Podcast, we're talking hobbies with Liquid driver Nathan Dobrins. Nathan, thank you so much for being back, man. Always a pleasure to have you here.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Now, you responded to me when I was reaching out looking for drivers that wanted to talk hobbies, and I always want to start out with just a basic question, like, what do you get up to in your off time? Are you a guy that likes to have a lot going on? Are you a guy that would rather just decompress and sit and stare at the TV? What types of things are you getting into?
Well, one of my main hobbies when I'm not in this truck is kind of wrench on cars, work on them with my personal fleet. I got 3 cars right now because the wife says we can't park any on the lawn, so that kind of limits my limits what I can actually put out.
I get you. So what three are you actively working on right now?
Well, my daily driver is a '98 Jeep Cherokee XJ, a little dark green one. I've got it. What was it? 4 years ago, just to put around when I was working before I got into driving, and I still have it to this day. Little 4-cylinder, 5-speed car, just basic to and from work. I was going to give it to my niece when she gets her license to give her a good starter car.
Yeah,
that was the plan at least. The second is a 1990 Ford F-250. I've been slowly just putting it back together. I was going to try to get 4-wheel drive and whatnot. I was going to use that for when me and the wife want to go put a place on the map and say, let's go here. I want to, truck to actually get out there overland maybe.
Yeah.
So working those out details.
And that vintage of trucks right there, especially the Fords, like my dad had an 89 Lariat diesel F-250, and I swear to God, if he hadn't sold it, the thing would still be running right now. Like it was such a muscle of a truck. I think it had one vapor lock one time, and we had to get it towed. But other than that, the thing was an absolute beast. So good choice there.
Yeah, and the third car is the first car I ever got with my own money is a '99 Pontiac Firebird WS6.
Oh, okay. So that's the speed then.
Yes. I mean, obviously, we're not going to discuss what shenanigans I've gone into in that car, but let's just say I've had my fun with it.
Yeah. What's it top out at, if you don't mind me asking?
Off the record, 162 is the best I got it.
Whoa! Thank God you are a professional driver. It's very rare that somebody can tell me that they've done 162 miles an hour in a car and it doesn't make me very nervous and very uneasy. I don't want you to get hurt, I don't want anything to happen to you, you probably have more expertise there than most people, so we're going to give you a pass on this show. So, Nathan, how much time do you spend working on these? Because, relatively, I guess, in terms of like antique cars, these aren't really that. These are more, modern cars that obviously one of them's your daily driver, one of them's kind of your knock around in the woods, and the other one's for the pavement. How much time are you devoting to each one of these to get them the way that you want them?
I mean, usually when I get back, I somehow got settled into a routine, which is kind of hard in trucking since they let us get home every weekend or at least half the weekend, depending how busy we are.
Mm-hmm.
Usually Saturday is my day when the wife's working. I would say I choose one car and spend about maybe 2 hours on it, or a day, okay, this month. Like, for example, it was the winter, so I put a little more work in the Firebird because it wasn't going to be driven with all the salt in the road and whatnot. So I was like, okay, we can tinker with this, move this around, put air filters, preventive maintenance, stuff like that. So hour and a half, 2 hours a weekend on them, just because if I spending more time on them, tools start flying up and down the driveway.
And money starts flying out of your pocket, right?
Yes, I mean, there's still probably a 10 mil socket somewhere on my front lawn I haven't found yet, but we're working on it.
That one belongs to the world now. It doesn't belong to you anymore. It's a 10 mil. You weren't going to find it even if you dropped it right down on the ground at your feet, right?
Nope.
I know how that goes. Well, hey, listen, we're going to continue talking to Nathan about his hobby, but I got to jump in here real quick because we had planned to have a second driver on this interview along with Nathan. We caught him when he was trying to pay for some fuel, so we went ahead and just started the interview, and now I want to welcome to the show Liquid driver Terry Smith, coming back to talk to us about hobbies. Now, Terry, last time you were here, you made 9-year-old Marcus do backflips because you've got a G.I. Joe collection like nobody's business. But we're glad to have you back and looking forward to talking to more hobbies with you, man. Thanks for being here.
Hey, thank you for having me back again.
Of course. So I'm going to kind of hit you with the same question that I already hit Nathan with. Weekends roll around, or let's say your off time rolls around. You got a couple of days. Are you a decompressed guy? Do you like to just kind of lay back, relax, and not have a lot going on? Or are you one of those guys that when the weekend comes, that's just time for you to be busy elsewhere besides work?
I am a decompressed guy, by far. Sometimes my wife might have a little honey-do list or something like that, but I'm the type of guy that'll get up super early Saturday morning and get all that done before the whole rest of the family's even out of bed.
Okay.
So that way I can have the rest of the weekend to myself.
I feel that.
With my family,
That's wise. What was that, Nathan?
I feel that. Like, sometimes before I even get back to the house, she already has the list. I'm like, what do you need done before I start my stuff? So there's no, like, why did you do this? I'm like, vacuum, laundry, dogs. Okay, got it. You done? Working on the car now.
Yeah. Man, what I just figured out is that you and I and Terry are all kind of three peas in a pod here because I don't get up early on Saturday, Terry. I'm not going to lie to you guys and tell you that I'm an early riser on a Saturday. Unless I got a football game to go to that I got to get a lot of stuff ready for, I like to sleep it in a little bit on a Saturday or Sunday because that's my wife's day off is Sunday, and she likes to get up and start choring on Sunday. As soon as she's out of bed and had something to eat, she's vacuuming, she's dusting, I'm trying to watch football, and there's just stuff going on. So what I started doing here just a few weeks ago, since football season's largely over, on Sunday I started doing the same thing you're doing, Terry, where I get up and I stand right next to her and I chore the hell out of this house for like an hour or two, and then I retreat to my man cave and play video games or watch football or do whatever I'm going to do. But that's a hell of a strategy to get up and knock it out before they're even awake, because then they don't see any frustration that you might have with the fact that you're doing it or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just the type of person that if I have a task hanging over my head, I want it done as quickly as possible so that I can carry on with life. If I leave it sitting there, it will just sit there and bug me. And even if I'm trying to relax, I can't relax because I know I still got to go do that thing.
Sure.
if that makes sense.
Oh,
So,
it totally does, man. It's a weird, almost form of anxiety that I've gotten it from some things. It doesn't. I'm not a guy where that happens to me with everything I put off because I can procrastinate with some of the best of them. But I will say that I do feel that anxiety sometimes for certain things. A lot of it is like work things where it's like, I'm procrastinating on this, but I don't need to be. Like, I could just do it and I would feel better afterwards. It's kind of like going to the gym, you know? Like, I know this is going to make me better as a person. I just don't know if I feel like it right now. So, that Nathan, you said, you're devoting a couple of hours because otherwise frustration and bills mount. Once you get done with the work on the cars, is there anything else that you're occupying the time with, or is that when you kind of get into this decompression mode?
One thing that actually decompressed me a lot is videography. Because I've had a YouTube channel since 2009. Man, it was always a hobby. I mean, I made a few $100 off of it just putting up video game videos. Or I remember way back in the day, like you probably know from broadcasting, like, when you're first starting out, you make do with what you got. Then when you get to the higher end, when you're actually established, you're like, I really did it like that. What the heck? Like,
yes.
To give an example, like starting out with YouTube, I used to put a little Disney camcorder on stacked in a bunch of DVD cases, aiming at the TV at the right angle so the freaking the fucking lighting in the back wouldn't be, drowning out the video. Then I had to put in the editing software, mess with the exposure, all that stuff to make it somewhat viewable.
Yeah, but got it done.
Now I got a little capture card. Just hook an HDMI to it, make sure the copyright protection is turned off. There you go, record, done. It is perfect.
Yep. And tell me where I can find your YouTube page. We want to have the drivers know too, so that they can go and check out some of your videos.
All right, it's look up Backpain 4, and disclaimer, if safety watches it, anything that's, quote, real-life driving was done before I got my CDL, I don't do that no more.
Okay, that's a very important disclaimer, especially if safety's watching. Well thought out there, Nathan. I appreciate it. And go check out the YouTube page. I
mean, you might know I've heard of this thing before I got a BS and DS, so...
Ah, yes. I actually make a living with mine, Nathan, believe it or not. So I totally get it. Totally understand. So Terry, on to after you're choring now. We're on the weekend. You've gotten up early. You've knocked out the honey-do list, and you've got a full weekend in front of you. What's left of it, to do whatever you want. I know the G.I. Joes are a big part of it. Are you getting into that right away? Are there other hobbies that you're into? What's going to occupy some time for you and just make you feel full in the heart?
Well, usually the family isn't up yet. See, I've got my wife, her sister, and my teenage son in the house, and they all love to sleep in. Sleeping is their favorite sport. So I might see one of them by 10 a.m. if I'm lucky. All three of them, not till noon, so I've got the rest of the morning. So usually what I do is first I figure out, because I love cooking when I'm home, what am I making for dinner for the next 2 nights? I make a quick list. I go through the spice cabinet and all this other stuff, and I make a quick list, and I run 3 blocks from my house down to the Hy-Vee supermarket and buy some stuff real quick. And if I need to get meat out to marinate or whatever I have to do, that's what I do then. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as that's all set up and that's ready to go, I fire up the PS5 and I get on Grand Theft Auto Online.
There you go. There you go. And that's
I throw on the headphones. I throw on the headphones so I don't wake anybody up other than, if I yell at somebody in frustration, oops, I'm sorry. But, throw on the headphones, get immersed in that. And I call it my running errands because I've got my character set up where basically all I do is run around the city of Los Santos and the surrounding areas and collect money and kill bad guys that try to interfere with that project.
And that sounds very cathartic in a way, especially with the high stress of what you guys deal with from day to day. Just going on a crime spree in GTA 5 can be pretty relaxing and pretty refreshing, can't it?
Oh, it can. And there's sometimes my wife will laugh at me because she'll watch me play occasionally if she gets up a little early. And she doesn't mind. She says it's like watching a movie that you're screaming at.
Yeah, all of us video game players have been there, man.
Look, I don't think you reached tryhard level of I have on GTA, Terry.
Probably not. I'm more of a build my empire guy.
Look,
And a lot of times I play in a private lobby just because I don't want to mess with trolls.
Look, if you've never been trying enough where you're playing on PC, you have a PS4 controller in your left hand to move your controller around, and in your right hand you got the mouse to snipe while you're moving with your left hand. I don't think you've ever reached that level.
Good Lord.
Nope, I have not.
That's like an ambidextrous gamer. Like you're half PC, half console there. I don't even know how my brain would work. Like, I'm a drummer. I'm pretty good at doing different things with different hands. But what you just described, Nathan, sounds like it would put me in a guardrail, figuratively.
I mean, the most equipment I ever had on me playing video games, I had the racing sim wheel with the VR headset on with the keyboard, and I just knew what the hotkeys were without taking the damn headset off because I was streaming at the same time. I'm like, thanks for, hold on, who you donated? Thank you.
That's awesome, man. Are you still streaming at all?
It's harder now because, like, according to our safety, they don't want us streaming when driving the trucks that I get. Last company didn't care as long as you didn't distract. You know, wanted to do, like, vlogs and stuff. I guess they kind of frown upon it, too. I haven't really revisited it since I got hired. I might ask them again about it, but I used to stream. On occasion, if there's nothing going on, I'll still stream.
Sure. And how about you, Terry? Are you, it sounds like you're not nearly as much of wanting the social aspect of this as you're kind of wanting to zero in, like you said, build your empire. Didn't you tell me that you had some ungodly amount of money on your GTA character last time I had you on?
I actually checked in my lifetime earnings, and keep in mind, I really just started playing online when they freed up the rules about what you could do in the private lobbies versus the public and everything.
Right.
Which was like 2020 or 21, something like that. But my character has made like $600 million.
Good Lord.
In the last 4 years. Because I bought all the businesses, the nightclub, the motorcycle club, the auto shop, everything that can earn money in the game. And I'm to that point now, like I said, I just run around collecting money.
Yeah,
and then
a lot more patience than I do.
Well, but the other fun part is, my other thing I love about the game is the car customization.
Yeah.
You guys were talking about cars when I came on. So that's right up my alley. I have every single garage property you can own, and I buy cars, I customize them, and I kind of have fun just swapping in and out of cars because I have like 20 different garages. So I drive around town and just kind of rotate. Okay, I'm going to drive this car down, kind of in a stupid OCD fashion.
How old's your account, Terry?
My actual account? Well, I started
your character
GTA Online on PS4. Oh, my character, probably 11 years.
So do you still have one of the first cars you found on the road? I can tell you, my first car, I still got it. I actually put up on Reddit the Karen Intruder. That little, what was it? It was the reason I got it because I think you might remember him. He was one of the YouTubers that did just GTA racing. He said, "Here's the best car for this class." So me and my buddy went to find it because it was the fastest in the sedan class. Tuned it up. I still got it. Same color, same license plate. I put it on Reddit because here's a screenshot when I recorded a video in 2013, and here it is today on PS5. Still there.
It's still running. It's got a lot of miles on her, but it's still running.
Is that one that looks like the IS300, the Lexus IS300?
Imagine IS300 with a little bit of an Infinity, like four-door Infinity G37.
Okay, yep, I do have that car. But I'll confess, I just recently stole that one off the street because lately they've been bringing back some of the old NPC cars, and I've been kind of using one garage to collect those. Yeah. So I just recently jacked one, but the first car I ever stole from an NPC was the Hyundai Tiburon lookalike.
Oh yeah, that I know. The one that Simeon would always give you a 2-star wine level when he found on the side of the damn road. Yep.
I still have that car. And then I have the original first-gen Camaro that the NPCs used to run.
Yeah, the Ruiner.
Oh, yeah.
I still
stole
have
those two cars. No, not the Ruiner. Well, is it the Ruiner? I'm talking about the one that looks like the 67.
A 67? Oh, Jesus. What was it? Not the Peyote, no.
Yep, that's the one. I still have that one. And for a while, people were offering you money if you'd sell them that car because they took it off the game completely. Well, I've been seeing the NPCs running around in them again lately. But maybe I should have taken advantage of that. But I like it. And when I come across that car in my rotation, I'm always so happy to see those OGs in my collection.
Right. The one OCD car I still have, because I remember I think you might remember when GTA first came out, the first month the hackers took it over and they did that purge. I had billions of dollars on one of the cars I bought. It wasn't the Z-Type. It was the Stinger GT.
Okay. Yep.
And I remember every time GTA went to a new console, I would do a lap around the map. They say, here's PS3, here's PS4, here's PC, here's PS5.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
We've
just
been
made it a
playing that
tradition.
game for 14 years now.
Right.
That's how long that game's been on the market.
But I still feel like GTA 4 had better car handling. I'll still die on that sword.
Yeah, I can agree with that. And also the physics of your character flying around was way better in GTA 4. You could fling Nico all the way across the map if you had a head-on collision on a motorcycle.
Yep. That's my only complaint in GTA 5. It went too casual.
Yeah.
Like GTA 4, you actually had to be good at that thing to do anything.
Well,
That was the one that, along with Liberty City Stories, those are the two I kind of skipped. Not because I didn't like them or didn't want them, but my kid was born about the time that San Andreas was kind of going away.
Mm-hmm.
That was 06?
And so my youngest was, he was, basically that was the last one I was heavily into, because after that I had children. And while they were young, that took so much of my time, I just didn't game a lot. But as they got older and my kid got into Minecraft and everything else, okay, now let's get a PS4 and then later a PS5 and we can game together. And then I got into Grand Theft Auto Online.
Now, I've
always loved the series.
I want to give you a little bit of credit here, Terry, because there are dads out there that make the decision the other way and don't parent their children. And then those people grow up and get into customer service, and you have to deal with them. So I really appreciate you parenting the kids over playing the video games. And I will tell you guys, too, I don't have nearly as much time. I don't even have a fraction of as much time in GTA as what you guys do. But I used to drive a little hatchback Ford Focus. It was bright yellow. All my friends called it Pikachu. And I was able to create a spitting image of that car in GTA 5, and it sat in my garage for as long as I played it. So I'm right there with you guys. I think that there's a funny parallel there between you, Nathan. You like to work on cars in your off time, and you also like to tinker with cars in GTA 5. It's like they did a really good job with that system. The customization is crazy, the amount of things you can do, the paint, all of it. And it gives us people that just like to look at all, like I couldn't take an engine out of a rig and put it back in without having it ruined. But I love to watch people do it, and I love to see their work after it's completed. So GTA kind of gives me that. Like, hey, I don't have to get my hands dirty and ruin something, but I still get to have something really cool.
Right.
So GTA 5. You know what? Setting this up with you guys, I had no idea that we were going to get this heavy into the GTA 5 talk, and I love it because there's other drivers out there that I happen to know for a fact are playing GTA 5 sometime later today, maybe right now as we speak. There's a lot of people still playing it. It's probably can be considered one of the greatest games, if not the greatest game of our generation. As far as the staying power, 14 years people have been playing this game, and we're still 2 years out from getting the next one.
Well, they have made billions of dollars on that game.
Yep. It's a money
and
printer.
rightfully so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have never once, other than I bought the GTA Plus membership to get the 100-car garage that comes with it. That's the only reason I bought the membership. But other than that, I have never given them $1 of actual money.
Which
Because
just goes
a lot of people buy the shark cards, and then they buy the yacht and whatever with their $10 million in-game credit card. But to me, it was like I can just go play the game and have fun and make the money to buy all the cool stuff. Why should I give them? I felt like if I gave them real money, I was not only wasting money, but like eliminating my chance to go have more fun in the game.
Yeah, but you got to bite your tongue here, because if they're listening right now, they're going to figure out a way to monetize that strategy that you just gave us, and we're all going to be paying more when GTA 6 comes out.
They already did. That's why it cost $2.1 million for a Ford Explorer in freaking GTA now.
Oh, God damn. Well, I heard that GTA 6 is looking at like a $120 price point, which is wildly outrageous to those of us that have been spending $40, $50, or $60 on console games our entire life. You got
you got to remember, the N64, those games were $70, $75.
Were they really?
I remember
paying like $40 for N64 games.
No, I remember Zelda. I have a thing for one of my old Zelda games on the box that said it was $74.99 from GameStop or EB Games or one of those.
So maybe we're just looking at inflation here. It's nothing else, right?
Yeah.
I do remember spending 45 of my hard-earned birthday dollars when I was a kid for Super Mario Brothers 3.
Oh, yeah.
On the NES.
NES, man.
And that was in 1990. I think I bought that in 92. It was my 10th birthday. And I'd been begging my parents for Super Mario 3 for like years. I don't know when it came out, but from the day it came out and I saw it in Nintendo Power, I begged them for it, and they're like, nope. Finally, I got a $50 check for my birthday. I'm getting me Super Mario Brothers 3, and it was $45 plus tax. And I remember I had to borrow like $1 from my dad to make sure I could actually cover all the tax.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Isn't it funny how when you're young like that and you make your first, what to you is your first significant purchase, it almost sears it in your brain? Because I remember the very first thing I bought, and I still have it with my own money. I don't remember how much it cost because I was really young, but it was the Ghostbusters Ecto-1. The old hearse-looking car that they drive around in. I had all the Ghostbusters, just like Terry's got all the G.I. Joes. I was flush with these things, but I didn't have a whip for them. And I remember, my mom was talking to her about it, and it started, I started doing little chores around the house. I started helping out. And once I had enough money, she took me to Toys R Us. I got that thing. I put it on the conveyor belt there. Toys R Us, by the way, rest in peace. Just an icon in my childhood, no longer with us. But the lady rung it up, and she reached out across the counter to grab the money from me, and I handed her the money. My mom will still tell you the story to this day. I handed her the money, and she grabbed it, and I wouldn't let it go. And I still remember that second of I don't know if I want to do this, and I let go of the money. Guys, I'm 40 years old, and I can see that Ecto-1, albeit a little beat up, but it's sitting right across the room from me. Yeah, nice. Very, very significant purchase, much like your Super Mario Brothers 3. Nathan, do you have one of those from when you were young that you remember that big purchase and how excited you were?
Oh, let's see here. What was it? The first thing I remembered I was big. I spent $130 on a 5.1 Logitech surround sound system for my computer.
Nice. You're a guy that likes good tech, I can tell.
Yes. Yeah. I even remember the naive 14-year-old me was sitting there. I'm like, you never seen a kid with this much money come through here, have you? Not realizing what the hell it was at.
Yeah, right. They're like, no, trust me, kids come in with their dad's money and a lot more than you've got on you right now.
Mm-hmm. And I think the other one, where was it? I remember I saved up enough money, and my grandpa took me to GameStop to get Demolition Derby 64 for the N64.
That was a good one, too. I remember that game. That kind of had
that was a good one.
It was like the precursor to the Twisted Metal series, or kind of like right around the same time as the Twisted Metal series, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Actually, the one thing I still have to me this day, though, so GTA 4, they had the collector's edition at launch. It came with a little lockbox and whatnot. And it came with the keychain. I still, this day, it's right here. I have the Rockstar emblem on my keychain still. 17 years later.
Yep, I do remember that. And I was working on a radio station at that point in time. We had an afternoon show, and we made it a big deal where we talked to all the listeners about how we were going to go out and wait in line for the midnight release because they opened GameStop in the mall at midnight. And what we didn't realize is that we were warning the entire city that the only place that was having a midnight release, the guys from the radio were going to be there, so you should probably get there early. So when we showed up, the line was like out the door and down the parking lot. It was ridiculous. And they still had enough copies to get us our games, but the plan was we're going to get it at midnight. We'll be home by 12:30. We'll be gaming until at least 3, and then we'll come and talk about it on the show. We didn't even get home until almost 3 that morning because we had to stand in line for so damn long for that video game. The things we do.
Midnight releases was the best.
Oh, they were awesome because it was a whole group of people that you knew, like, you could kind of form like these alliances or these rivalries with them in the line. Like, I don't like the way that guy's looking. I don't like his shorts. I'm going to kill him first. Like,
No, I remember midnight release of GTA 5. I fucking won the raffle for that when the games come out, they have the big banner in the back of the GameStop on the top thing, this game, this date, right?
Oh, yeah.
I won the raffle for that, and I sit there and really got the ticket. And I'm like, holy shit, that's me. And I walk up to it. Everyone gave me the they were searing me at their eyeballs. And I have that hung up on Man Cave in the corner still to this day as well.
Yep, and all those people in the line are still trying to hunt you down and kill you for it, too. There's no question about it. That's great. There's another thing we have in common, Nathan. I have a 10-foot tall vinyl Step Brothers movie poster. The one where they're like in the school pose together in the cardigan sweaters.
Yeah.
I hang it from my tailgate tent at the football games. It's quite the attention grabber.
Uh-huh.
Oh man, this has been great. But you know what is the problem is the same thing that happened last time I talked with you, Terry, is we got on this thing where we're talking about something I really enjoyed as a kid and still kind of do as an adult. And I'm almost thinking about repurchasing GTA 5 right now. And I shouldn't do that. It's too late in the game, but you guys have got me fired up. I kind of want to play. And I kind of know that there's other Liquid drivers out there playing right now too.
Immediately.
Well, Steam has it
Fire up
on
your
sale, I
computer and
think.
buy it right now.
I think it's on Steam sale right now for like $20, $30, $25 now, I think.
Oh, well, that's just case closed then. I mean, why wouldn't you at that price, right? You guys gonna hang out? Will you guys actually hang out with my broke ass, or will you make me, do I have to develop my own empire before I can hang with you?
Oh, if I'm
I'll let
actually
you hang
on.
with me.
Okay. So you guys will...
If you catch me online, no.
Well, if you see a rocket fired across your hood and it seems purposely poorly aimed, that's just me playing with you, okay? That's all I'm doing. I'm just out there shooting rockets.
Yeah, don't make us get the oppressors out. Or we're going to make the whole lobby go to shit immediately.
My wife will laugh at me because I love to drive the cars. I didn't get much into the oppressors and stuff like that because it's Grand Theft Auto to me. So I'm out driving my cars. And, one of the things I hate is the fact that they program the NPCs to swerve in front of you.
Yeah, what's up?
Yep.
And every now and then I'll get sick of that. And I'll look at my wife and I'll be like, that's it. It's time for a temper tantrum. And I'll get out of the car and just start lighting everybody up. And I'll bring all the cops. And I'm like, bring it. I'm going to kill you all. Keep swerving in front of me. And then my wife's like, do you ever feel like this in the big truck? And I said, we don't talk about that.
We don't talk about that. No.
Compartmentalization, sweetheart. Yeah.
No, I always say, Terry, to my wife, like, what happens when we're in the lottery? All there be signs, you'll see this truck going down the interstate with 3 cars off the cattle bars heading back up to Omaha.
Oh, guys, this has been awesome. Well, listen, we've gone for almost, actually a little over half an hour here, so I'm going to let you guys get back to it. It always goes fast when we're having a fun conversation about something we're all into. And we could talk about this for hours on end. There's no question in my mind.
Right.
But I'm going to let you guys...
I have no doubt.
Well, I'm going to let you guys get back to it. I promise you this won't be the last time we talk about it. And what I think I'm going to do, I want, if you're out there right now, like Drew Hearn is one of the drivers. I'm going to call him out by name because I know he's played some GTA 5 in the past. I don't know if he's still playing it actively, but Drew, when you're listening to this, get at me. And anybody else that has a little bit of a GTA 5 habit, get in touch with me. Either shoot me an email, podcast@liquidtrucking.com, or if you've got my cell phone number, shoot me a text or give me a call. Because what I would really like to do is get all the guys that are GTA 5 players in here and kind of do a roundtable with all of you. I don't know, see if we could put a gang together and take this thing over or something like that. Like, I'm motivated now. You guys with all this, you got all this money in your pockets. Now, I am probably going to kind of be a freeloader at first, right? Because I'm going to show up with nothing but a Datsun and a Dream. But
that'd be a freaking Pinto.
Nathan Dobrins, Terry Smith, you guys are awesome. We will circle back to this conversation again. Thank you guys both very much. Stay safe out there, okay? We'll talk to you both soon.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for having me on.
All right, joining us now is the man who's responsible for bringing this episode to my attention, and one other driver as well. First off, we want to welcome Quincy Rich and say thanks for the idea, man. This has already been a lot of fun recording this episode. Already had a really fun conversation with a couple of drivers, and I'm looking forward to this one as much, Quincy. I'll get you your 50,000 drive for gold points, okay? Mark my word.
I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome.
Buy more tools.
There you go. Well, thanks for being here, man. How's the day out there? Where are you at? Where are you headed?
I am done for today. I just got back from Hudson, South Dakota, back at the Bardo yard, and just going to drop my trailer, and then I'll be heading home.
Nice. Also joining us today is Liquid driver Travis Ludi, which I was pronouncing completely wrong the entire time. I think you've been on the show, once or twice now, Travis, so appreciate you putting up with my dumbass and pronouncing your name wrong and not just calling me out right in the middle of the podcast.
Hey, it's okay, man. It's okay. Over the years, you hear all sorts of ways of apparently saying my name. So you're good. You're good.
Okay. Well, can you give us a couple examples, or like what's the wildest incorrect pronunciation you've heard, or was it me?
No, actually, it was my dad. My dad's a Vietnam veteran, and while he was in boot camp down in Louisiana back in the Vietnam era, his drill sergeant actually called him Lundy.
Oh wow! Just added a letter.
Yep, just added a letter.
That is sticking now.
Yeah. You're going to be Lundy from here on out. Well, it's funny because I also fouled up Quincy's name the very first time. Now, Quincy, that one was easy, the first name. I was calling him Quincy Rush for some stupid reason. His name is Quincy Rich, so we have something in common here, you guys. I've screwed up both of your names, and both of you have let me get away with it without chastising me live on the air, which I think is more than okay. So if I do that,
That's Midwestern hospitality.
I guess so. You guys are just too kind out there, man. I don't know. Over here, though, people get their feelings hurt too often. So you got to dance that fine line somewhere. But my apologies, gentlemen. I'm good on the names now. I have a pretty easy name, Marcus Bridges. Like sometimes people spell it with a K, whatever. It's the same. It makes the same noise. I don't get offended by that. But my wrestling coach, when I was in junior high and high school, had the worst handwriting. And I don't know if you guys wrestled or if you've been to a high school wrestling tournament, what they do is when it's time for your match to be like on deck, they call out the name and the weight, and they say it over the loudspeaker so everybody in the gym can hear it. And I'm not kidding you. I get called, well, I know it's my weight class and they should be calling me, and they call, Dan Smith versus Marass Bridge. And I didn't go because that wasn't me. I'm not Marass Bridge. I'm so far away from that guy. I mean, it was, and I went up to the scores table and I was like, "Are you looking for Marcus Bridges?" And they showed me the coach's handwriting, and I was like, I think that's me. I guess I'll just go wrestle. I don't know. So I'm sensitive to it now, and I will not screw it up anymore. Appreciate you guys, like I said, giving me a little slack. We're here today to talk about off-time hobbies. And Quincy, you kind of brought this idea up to me, sent me a text message a couple weeks back and saying, listen, I kind of want to know about what other drivers do, and it would also be fun to talk about what I do. So I'm going to kick it off with you and just start the conversation. What does, a weekend in Quincy Rich's life look like? Are you a go-getter? Are you up early getting shit done? Are you a decompressed guy on the couch? What's your go?
Well, I'll put it this way. I still work almost every Saturday. So normally I go to Marshall, Minnesota, take sodium hydroxide up there. I'm usually home by 2. But by the time I get home, I'm either down in my shop during this time of year working on old International Harvester tractors that I restore, or I just got some that I use around our farm. Summertime, it's working on fence. This year we're going to be putting in a couple acres of hay ground. I got to build our deck this year, but basically a weekend, there is no such thing for me right now.
Yeah, I was
Travis
going to
can attest to that. But,
dude, that's crazy because you didn't just give me a list of hobbies. You just gave me a honey-do list that lasts until like next March. So,
yeah.
Do you do that to yourself? Yeah. Do you do that to yourself?
Oh, absolutely. My wife's in line with her honey-do list after my honey-do list is done.
Okay. So
hopefully by the time I'm retired, I should be getting around to getting her honey-do list done, but as of right now, I don't see it happening in the foreseeable future.
No, I wouldn't be holding your breath at all. And makes me wonder if you suggested this episode so you could pick up a couple of hobbies based on what the other drivers do. Because we need to get you some fun activities, man. Mending fence and building tractors. You probably enjoy that, though.
Yeah, I do. It gives me something to spend my money on, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But, I like hunting, doing that too, but I'm more into the restoring old things, taking stuff apart, figuring out how it works, putting it back together.
What time frame of tractors are you working with? Because I actually, in my own old hometown, we had a rancher there that owned a ton of land, and he only restored old tractors, old Internationals and stuff like that, and would take them around and show them. And these things were, like, some of them I'm surprised that they even had wheels because they look so old. I didn't know that they had wheels back then, but I'm interested. What year, like what vintage of tractors are you working on currently?
I'm pretty much like 1948 is my, I guess you could say, oldest one. I got a 1950, a 51, 55. There's a 58 model.
Wow. You're loaded.
There's a couple other. I'm between like 40s and late 60s, I would say.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you got quite the fleet of them, man. That's really cool. I would love to see some pictures of some of them when they get completed, and we can get them up on the website too so that other drivers can check them out if you're looking to show them off.
Oh, absolutely.
That's really cool. So so when you said fixing tractors at first, I was like, that's just fixing tractors so you can go out and fix more fence. Like you need one to do the other. You need the tractors as like a something to actually work on. But this seems more like a hobby where you're wanting to bring these things back up. I'm sure being that old, some of them are just beat to shit.
Oh, the one I just so I've got a International Farmall MV. It's a vegetable model, so it's a high crop. And they used them down in Louisiana back in the 40s and 50s in the rice fields because, I mean, you pretty much flood the fields to grow rice.
Mm-hmm.
So these tractors are very, very tall, and I just bought one. I haven't even seen it yet. Coming out of Louisiana. It's in Missouri currently. It's going to be getting shipped from Missouri up to my place next week, and it's been sitting out in the rice fields for the past 40 years not running.
Oh, wow. Dude, you're going to have a whole colony of new bugs in that thing you're going to have to clean out. The bugs in Louisiana are outrageous and not of this world, if you ask me. Sorry to anybody from Louisiana that's listening, but in my time in New Orleans and Baton Rouge, I was covered in bugs, and I hated every minute of it.
I'm not looking forward to it. I'm going to hopefully get it up here while it's cold, and I can hopefully kill them off with
Freeze
cold
them
weather.
out. Yeah, there you go. Good call, man. Good call. Travis, you've been very patient, man. I want to get into this with you a little bit now that we know what Quincy's up to in the off time. What's a weekend look like for you, man? Are you up and at 'em? And I use the term weekend. Think about like a couple days off. It doesn't have to be on the weekend. It could be Wednesday, Thursday for all I care. But what are you getting up to on your off time, Travis?
Well, so currently, I mean, it is winter time. This is my first winter here in the Midwest since I am a southern boy from Texas. Back home, you know, the weather kind of is a little bit more helpful to do things outside and all that
You don't say.
compared to up here in Iowa. So I have kind of learned that up here, wintertime is kind of sit back, be lazy, stay inside. Unless you are like Quincy that has a shop that you can go and do stuff. Where I currently live, we don't have that. So I don't have the availability to be able to have a hobby like that. But whenever it's nice weather, I'm kind of the outdoorsy guy. You know, I like to hunt. I like to fish. Being with my fiance and the future in-laws, we do a lot of camping. We go to equestrian campgrounds. We go horse trail riding. We pull out our living quarter horse trailers, you know, and we'll pack up and we'll go for a weekend.
Oh, that's cool. Those living quarter horse trailers are amazing. When I was in high school, I was sniffing after a barrel racer, and I'll never forget when she opened that horse trailer and there was like it looked like one of the nicest campers I'd ever seen. And I thought this whole thing was just for horses. It's a really cool concept.
Yes. They are, I mean, coming from somebody that didn't necessarily grow up with horses, I'm learning a lot. I'll tell you that. You know, they're more on the horse side of things. I just, you know, I get up, I saddle up with them, I go ride. But honestly, I am that outdoorsy guy. I like to be able to shut my phone off and not worry about anything for 24, 48, 72 hours and don't have a phone call, nothing, because I don't have cell phone service. So it's just a pack up, get away, and clear your mind with nature.
That's amazing, man. And it really does work. There's some studies that have come out recently I was reading that are like, this one doctor is very adamant that when you are going to get outside, if you want to have like good weeks and good days and not feel like garbage at work, he tells you to go outside right after you get up. Like, get out and get the sun on your face right in the morning, and it'll just set you right. I don't know what the science is behind it, but I will tell you that I have that feeling unlike any other time when I'm camping. It's like that first unzip of the tent or that first step out of the trailer into just the woods. Oh, there's nothing like it.
Yeah, I fully agree. I mean, where I grew up is basically the desert of Texas. It's flat. You can watch your dog run away for 20 miles. There ain't nothing. there ain't nothing out there. So to be able to come up here and see the sights up here of just all the rivers at these campgrounds, and just be able to hear the river by your camper, and just be at peace, that whole weekend of just, I don't have to care about anything.
Yep.
It is actually very, very peaceful.
That's cool, man. Well, hey, if you ever want to camp on next to a real mountain, you can drive out here and see me. I know that sometimes I get under the Midwesterner skin a little bit, but man, it's windy out there and flat where you guys are. And, where we camp, we get shaded in behind these big, tall growth trees or giant hills and mountains and things like that. It's really nice out here. You should come out west and go camping sometime.
I will tell you one thing. Whenever I owned my own truck, I took a trip out there. I don't know where you are necessarily, pinpoint exact location, but man, I drove I-84 through Oregon, up to Portland, all that mountainside and everything, through Cabbage Pass. Some of the most beautiful country I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, you're making my heart melt, man, because I feel like we're kind of a well-kept secret over here. There's not very many people who have driven through the state of Oregon. A lot of times they go to a place and they stop, but that's really what Oregon's all about. We got 4 different climates in this state. You can be in high alpine mountain, and 3 hours later you can be in what would remind you of a high desert. And then 2 hours after that, you're in a rainforest. It really does change all the way through. And yeah, they got some good campgrounds. There are some hellscapes, though. There's a few campgrounds out there along the Interstate 84, along the Columbia River Gorge, that while the river's pretty, nothing around it is. It's just flat and windy and dusty. But I'm glad you made it out here, man. I tend to brag about it a little bit, as anybody will do about their home, where they're from. And this is kind of interesting. I'll tell you guys this, because if it was one of you drivers out there that's listening to me, amazing. But I sit right up against a window that looks out towards Highway 569 in Eugene, Oregon. That's a long highway. You wouldn't be able to pinpoint my house. There's thousands of houses on it. But sitting here the other day recording, and I got done, and I opened the window because it was kind of hot up here. And I'm not kidding you, 5 minutes after I opened the window, a semi drove by on the highway, and it didn't just blow the horn. It went bramp, 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 and then exited right where my house is. And I'm looking at that as somebody from Liquid Trucking came and visited me, and they figured out where I was at. And what's up? I love that. That was cool. I've lived in this house for 10 years. I've never heard anything like that. I spend every day up in this room. I know not many of you guys get out here that often, but I did see a liquid truck on Interstate 84 on a road trip once. And, hey, you guys are welcome out here in my big green state, okay? I know that sometimes the politics get a little funny and the leadership's out of whack, but we're pretty cool out here. We like to hunt and fish, too, Come on down and see us. Quincy, you ever made it out here?
A few times. So I have an aunt that lives in Portland.
Oh, that's right.
Her family, and they have a cabin in Port Townsend. We used to fly into Portland when we go out there for family vacations, but when things started to kind of go downhill just a little bit, we started flying into Seattle, and it was a little more enjoyable. You probably know what I'm talking about.
Well, I do.
We'd always go out there, and we'd catch the ferry. We'd end up in Seattle anyway, and we'd head a little north, catch the ferries, go across the strait, and we'd go into Victoria, Canada, because we like going to Canada. Yeah.
Oh, it's so pretty up there. And it's if you drive it from down where I'm at up in Oregon, if you drive up to Canada through, Seattle and on I-5, it's a long trip. But if you're already in Seattle, it's so worth the time to just head up there and jump over the border real quick. What kind of stuff did you guys do in Canada? Did you just sample some maple syrup and hit a few slap shots and come on back down?
I was very popular when I went back to high school because I was a little old when I was a senior. I was 19. Well, in Canada, you can drink at 19.
That's the only reason I went to Canada.
I was very popular when I got back because everybody's like, "Oh, what'd you drink?" The first day, I think we were up in Victoria for 4 days. The first day, my sister and I wandered off and went downtown to like Chinatown in Victoria, Canada. I had the best Chinese food I've ever had, and I have been to some sketchy places for Chinese food.
You're out there looking for the good stuff, is what you're saying.
Yep. And I made the comment to the waitress, and I said, "Where's like a local pub or something around here?" She says, "1 block to the east." Walked over to it. I'm pretty sure it's called the Moose Head.
Probably.
And our parents ended up, our parents tracked our phones about 4 or 5 hours later, found us, and we were still sitting in the same spot. And they had tap. I want to say they had 100 different kinds of beers.
Wow. And you guys were just rinsed. You guys were just rinsed by the time your parents found you, weren't you?
The look of disappointment on my mother's face, but the look of approval from my father's face was perfect.
Yep.
But you know what, Marcus? I'll put it this way here. You just kind of picked on a little, I wouldn't say hobby, but I'm into collecting whiskey.
Oh.
And that's kind of something I do on the side, kind of like hunting. And I've got a whole bunch of different things that will just pop up if you talk about them. But I like drinking whiskey and collecting whiskey. And I tell you what, if there's any whiskey drinkers out there, there is a bottle that I just bought here 2 months ago. It's called Horse Soldier. And if you ever watched 12 Strong or knew about the guys when we first invaded Iraq, and they went over there and they actually rode the horses, these guys came back, opened their own whiskey company, and they got metal from the Twin Towers to make their forge or the plates to stamp their plates. So every plate that they put on the front of their bottle that says Horse Soldier with the soldier riding the horse is stamped from a pressed adapter plate made from the Twin Towers steel.
Wow. What a cool story. And I'll be honest with you, how's the whiskey? That's what I really want to know.
So they've got 3 different kinds. Well, not 3 kinds. They're the same kind, but they're 3 different proofs. They've got a gold plate, which is, I believe, 80 proof. Then there's like a silver plate, which is like 90-something proof. But the one that I am on is like, bronze. And then the one I am on is the silver-plated one, and it is 117 proof. I will put it this way. I don't remember election night that much. And I only had about 3 shots.
Yeah, it's it takes me back to a South Park episode where Randy, the one of the dads, gets really excited about wine tasting, and it's like noon, and his wife comes in, she's like, "You're drinking at noon?" And he's like, "I'm not having a glass of wine, Sharon. I'm having 6. It's a flight, and it's classy." And that's kind of what the whiskey hobby is like for me. I try to taste and get the complexity and enjoy it. But what happens is I end up getting hammered every single time I've tried it. But I love it, man. That's awesome. So you're collecting. How many bottles would you say you have in your collection right now?
Well, let's see here. So I've got almost every kind of Woodford Reserve that they make, because that's actually my side of the family be Woodford. So I collect every Woodford Reserve they have. I've got a few limited edition Woodford Reserves from the Kentucky Derbies that they've been doing. So I think I probably have anywhere between 10 and 12 different kinds of Woodford Reserve bottles.
Wow.
It's got some Crown Royal. I've got all 3 of the Horse Soldiers. I've got a couple limited edition Maker's Marks that I have yet to open. I got one for my wedding, which is really cool, from a buddy of mine, and I can't open that until he comes over. He's actually coming the 15th of February, so don't be trying to get a hold of me the night of the 15th, because I will not be available.
Well, I might just call you with the mics hot to see what I can get.
Well, we're going to be at a Pheasants Forever banquet, and here we go again. One thing I like to do in the winter is go to banquets, like Whitetails Unlimited, Ducks Unlimited, go to Pheasants Forever. I go to almost every single banquet within like an hour and a half, 2 hour drive of here.
Very cool. Well, I got one more question for you about the whiskey, and then I want to get to Travis here a little bit more. But you rattled off probably between 20 and 30 bottles that you've got in your collection, I would say. It's just a rough estimate. How many of them
I would probably say 20 is probably a good one for right now.
Okay, and how many of them actually still have whiskey left?
Oh, I was just going on full one.
Oh, okay, okay. So you've got a warehouse full of empty bottles that you've already been through, I'm sure.
Oh, there's probably 20 full bottles, and I'd say there's probably 15 to somewhere on there empty bottles that just I thought were cool, so we wash them out and keep them.
Okay, so you're a well-traveled whiskey connoisseur. I like it. See, I look at that as a hobby. Some people would call you a collector, but there's more than just collecting to it. Like collectors, that's like baseball cards. You just sit there and look at them. Whiskey is an experience.
Yeah. Oh, don't even start on that.
Okay, I won't. Don't worry.
There's another one for you. I've got a lot. Yeah.
Travis,
Look at Travis.
are you much of a collector? Do you have anything like that you're kind of squirreling away and just keeping because you like it?
Honestly, I want to say that one day I will. Currently, where we live, Quincy's been to my house. It's very small, so can't really do much of that. I mean, I'm an avid gun owner. You know, I'm a gun nut, so I like collecting guns. I do enjoy a good glass of whiskey, stuff like that as well. But as of right now, other than my gun collection, I don't really have per se something that I am currently really grabbing at for a collection per se. But it's definitely going to be something that I will do in the near future after we buy our own house and stuff.
Sure, get a little
100%.
bit of extra elbow room there. So I gotta ask you about the gun collection. You knew if you told me about it, I was gonna start asking questions. So I think my first question before I ask you how large the collection is what's the crown jewel of the collection? I know everybody that's into shooting, whether it be target shooting or hunting, has that one gun that they will probably never get rid of. For me, it's a featherweight Model 243. It's a little tack driver. I know I look tiny and small and petite when I shoot it, but I don't care. I love that gun. What's that gun for you in your collection, Travis?
So to start off with the size, I mean, it's nothing super major, you know, because I am a young guy. Life gets busy and you can't really go out and dump a whole buttloads of money on guns. What I have currently is probably my Mosin Nagant. It is a German World War II rifle.
Right. But
probably the one and only thing that I will not ever sell, and that would be my 357 mag revolver. My dad bought that whenever I was a baby, and it has the 357 mag, all the original paperwork, original hard case. It's still in the plastic.
Wow.
And it has ivory hand grips on it. It's a gorgeous revolver. Currently, I do not have it at my house. It is still at my dad's house in Texas because it is kind of one of those things that it stays locked away.
Yeah, absolutely. And probably you put on white gloves and everything before you take it out of the box, too, like you're handling the Stanley Cup, right?
Yeah, I mean, we shot it maybe, I think, you know, I was born in the mid-'90s. I bet you over the years we've only shot 50 rounds through it.
Wow. So it's in great shape.
Yes, it is a gorgeous, gorgeous revolver, and it is just a collection piece from now on.
I love how you talk about it, too, and that's exactly why I wanted to know, because it's like I said, every gun guy's got that gun, whether it's beat up and you've used it a ton, and it's like an old hammer that you just hope never breaks, or it's something that you only take out on very special occasions. Everyone's got one. Now, I'm interested in the Mosin. Is that an actual antique firearm there, or is that something that was made, you know, after World War II in the same model as those guns that they shot during the war?
So I actually bought it from a gun show back home in Texas, and from the dealer that I had actually bought it from says that it is not a replica.
Wow.
It was. It may have never been used in warfare. It may have just been put into surplus. But it is a real Mosin from World War II. And I mean, it came with the whole ammo belt. It came with the bayonet, a field dressing kit, everything. And I bought it from that guy for $150 whenever I was 18 years old.
Oh my God. I think you meant to say you stole it from that guy for $150 when you were 18.
I've had a lot of people offer me money for it, and over the years, I've lost the bayonet, but I mean, the field dressing kit, stuff like that. But that stuff is easy to get from Army, military surplus stores.
Mm-hmm.
I mainly was just wanting the rifle. And I've had a lot of people ask me, to double my money on it, almost triple my money on it because they want it. And I said, no, I won't sell it. I also got the notorious AR-15. I got my 243 deer rifle that, I've had since I was a teenager as well. And it's one of those things that it may not be a big fancy long competition, long range rifle, but it's my tried and true.
Yeah. Put steak on the plate, right?
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
That's awesome, man. Well, thanks for sharing about that. I love, I don't go out and actively buy a lot of stuff. I'm in the market right now because I've shot both the elk that I've killed in my life with my dad's 300 Win Mag, and I love that gun, but it's his, and I don't want to keep taking it from him when it's time to shoot at elk. So I'm in the market for a new one. But you're right, man. It's an expensive hobby. It's a lot like golf. It's like sometimes it's going to be 2 or 3 years in the making of getting that next piece that you want because, hey, they don't come cheap, or if they do, they're probably not well made. With the one exception being the Mosin that you stole from that poor gentleman at the guns show for $150 measly dollars. When you were 18, did you even comprehend like what had happened when you made that purchase? Did you know how historically significant that gun was?
I come from a family of military background. Grandpa served in World War II, and my dad is a Vietnam veteran. Mm-hmm. So I knew I wasn't necessarily going after I have to have this because it's historically correct. It's just I'm a history nut. I love anything to do with history, so I started my war collection, I guess you could say, since we're talking about collections here. My war collection started with this Mosin. My dad served in Vietnam in the mid-'60s at Da Nang Airfield. And, they served with M14s, and then the M16 came along the way mid my dad's deployment. So I want to get an M14. I want to get an M16, and I kind of want to go along throughout the eras of the American warfare and build a collection off of that, because that is something that I didn't get to do due to bull riding accident. Whenever I was a teenager, I never got to serve in the military. So I give 100% of my heart, and, hats off to our veterans and anybody that has served our country, because I didn't get to do that. I didn't get to keep my family's legacy going of being in the military. So it's kind of one of those things that I've always wanted to do, is build a collection off of our warfare throughout the years.
Very cool, dude. And I got to be honest with you guys. I'm seeing a bit of a side gig for you guys here if you're looking for it. Now, I know truck drivers are busy, and you already told us, Quincy, you maybe have one day, not two. But I would definitely go to a traveling exhibit of war vintage firearms and restored international tractors. Like, that would be so damn cool to just walk into a warehouse, look at all the tractors, look at all the guns, read all the history. Are you guys feeling this at all? Or are you like, whoa, take it easy, Marcus. We're not doing that.
That's a long-term goal.
Okay. All right. See, so it's in there.
Wouldn't mind having a museum.
Well, it sounds like you might have a shop big enough to build one in. You just rattled off a lot of tractors earlier in the interview. You got a big shop?
Oh, well, I got my dad and I's shop. That's a 40 by 60, and then my shop that it all started in when I was 12 or 13. I built a 24 by 18, and I outgrew that as soon as I bought a second tractor. So
yeah, but, 40 by 60 sounds like it would house you.
Yeah, but actually, we're looking at possibly building another 40 by 40.
Very cool. Well, listen, fellas, I got to say thanks to you. Really appreciate this time that you've spent. We've already gone for almost 35 minutes, believe it or not. It feels like it's been like 10. But that's what happens when we get into these conversation-style episodes, and I'm not coming up with a bunch of, hard-hitting questions. We're just shooting the shit right now. And we happen to be shooting the shit with a Mosin Nagant, which is pretty cool. So, I just really appreciate the time here, fellas. I'm going to let you get back to work. Quincy, you got some Drive for Gold points on the way, so thank you for that. as always, before I let you go, I want to give you guys a chance to say anything to anyone that might be listening. Travis Ludy, I got it right that time. We're going to start with you, man. Go for it.
We were talking about my future goals for my collection and everything. So, I shouted out our shop and our wash bay the last episode I was on, but I'm going to keep on going with the theme that I was going with. Hats off and shout out to all of our men and women that have served our great country to keep it free.
Fantastically said, and great job on that to turn it. I love giving the vets some love on this show. You guys know that. Without our military and the people that serve in it, I don't know what it would look like right now. What it looks like already kind of scares me from time to time, but hey, if it wasn't for our military, we'd be in a much worse spot. So thank you for everybody that's out there serving and making the great sacrifice there. And Travis, thank you for your time today, my friend. Be safe out there. Quincy, you're up, dude. Go Ducks.
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to put it up to, I want to say thanks to the recruiting for Oregon. Hopefully they bring in some good players this year so we can beat Ohio State.
There you go. Well, beat Ohio State again, okay? Again.
There you go. Yeah, true. We did beat them once, I like Nebraska.
Yeah, all right, fellas. We can't give Nebraska any more shit, guys. I did it for like 3 or 4 months, and they're starting to get claws out now that we lost that second go-around to Ohio State, so I got to take it easy on the Nebraska folk. Maybe we should pick on Illinois for a while. What do you think about that?
Oh, boy. Well, you know why Illinois doesn't have a college football team, right?
I thought they did. We played them this year.
Well, Illinois doesn't have one, but if they did, Iowa would want one too.
Way to go. 2 birds with 1 stone right there. I love it, guys. Well, thank you both, Travis and Quincy, for being here today. We'll get you back on the show soon, all right? Be safe out there.
All right, buddy.
All right, Liquid Trucking, that is going to wrap it up for episode 65, our episode about driver off-time hobbies. Thank you so much to Quincy Rich for suggesting it and coming on to talk about his hobbies. Travis Ludy as well. Of course, Nathan Dobrins and Terry Smith. I told you how those guys bailed me out of a jam. Can't thank you enough, man. Super fun episode here. Love to hear it. Love to get to laugh with you guys sometimes and just kind of hang out like one of the employees. Like it feels good. I feel like part of the team, man. These are always some of my favorite episodes when we're just chopping it up. Glad to have you guys. And remember, if you want to come on this podcast and you haven't been on yet, we're always welcoming new drivers on, as many as want to come on for whatever topics they want to come on for. I'm wide open for suggestions as well. If you have my phone number, as I always say, shoot me a text or give me a call. I'll answer it or get back to you as soon as I can. Or if you got the email, everybody's got the email, so that's the easy way, podcast@liquidtrucking.com. I know that one of the reasons the email is probably not the super popular method is because you guys are driving and it's really hard and illegal to send an email when you're driving. So I get it. I understand why we don't get tons of emails, but I just want you to know we're always up for suggestions, as the episode you just listened to didn't come from my brain and it didn't come from Jason or Nick either. So help us out. We always love the suggestions. We want to know what you guys want to hear about and what you want to talk about. Don't forget to head over to liquidtrucking.com to check out the website by clicking the banner at the top of the page. And I have run out of time. I'm out of here. Curtains for me. Put the brakes on. Throw her in park. I'm hitting the sleeper berth. We'll see you next week for episode 66. Keep the shiny side up and stay safe out there, Liquid drivers.
Thanks for tuning in and being the gold standard of drivers on the road. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel and tune in next week for another episode of the Liquid Trucking Podcast.